Greetings sailors, welcome back to World of Warships, and I figured as I really didn't properly speak about the Izumo that much in the 5.3 preview video, well not really preview, it was out by that point, but yeah, I had an Izumo game in the background, but because there was so much stuff to talk about with the patch, I didn't get to talk about the game so much, so we're going to do some live recorded stuff instead. This is actually my second attempt, by the way. The first one went all horribly wrong, and it's also been a ×2 weekend, and I've just had zero luck getting any wins. I've had one game won in 3 days out of probably about 3 or 4 hours played across those 3 days. So yeah, all those lovely ×2 dailies, and I haven't been able to get a single one of them. Well, apart from one, I have been able to get a single one of them. But my win rate has just not been good across the weekend at all. 1 win out of 7 or 8 games is it gets a bit frustrating after a while, as you can imagine. So I don't know what my chances are going to be like. One of the games of the previous attempts came really close to being a win, and then I kind of mucked it up slightly. We had one particular teammate that mucked it up even more, and unfortunately the enemy team ended up winning with one very low health ship remaining because we just didn't have the cap points. They won on victory points basically. So that was pretty frustrating. So let's give this a go. So I haven't been doing a lot of these live recorded games, and it's not been intentional. The last one I did was Armoured Warfare, playing some PvP artillery. And I used to do these at least, you know, kind of once a week, and that's fallen off a little bit. And with World of Tanks in particular, it's because I'm just not playing World of Tanks that much, or so much as I used to. But, oh, this matchmaking though, good grief. Yeah, but otherwise it's not entirely been intentional that I don't do them so much, because they give a different flavour than the replays. Replays are very curated, you're picking out games from your own archives or that people have sent to you, and you can have a very clear idea of how you're going to present it and what kind of theme or message you want to have in a particular game. Whereas in a live recorded game, it's all just happening as it happens. It's all very kind of off the cuff, and you get probably a much better idea of what my average gameplay is like. So yeah, they have a tier 10 battleship platoon. We unfortunately don't have any tier 10 battleships, and they also have and we've got comparable destroyers. Destroyers is fine. We have a tier 10 cruiser more than they do, but no tier 10 battleships, so that might be an issue, especially as one of those is a mighty Yamato. We'll see. So the Izumo, a lot of people just skip past it, and in order to minimise the grind, I've plonked down what's probably about the equivalent of £12, whatever that is in euros, for the premium permanent camo, which gives you plus 100% XP on the ship, and you stack that up with flags. Yeah, it's gonna really have a big effect on how quickly I get to the Yamato. But it's pretty expensive. It was 4,000 doubloons. So I think just, even obviously on the lower tiers, the permanent camos, ships that have them, they're less expensive because they're lower tiers. But tier for tier, in comparison to World of Tanks, they're still really quite expensive, even though you get that XP bonus. So for me, it wouldn't really be worth it unless it was something like this, a high tier ship where the grind is going to be a lot longer, because it will more than half the grind between the camo and using the appropriate flags. So I'm just going to idle forwards for now. I'm not going to go into full gear, because apart from anything else, I'd like some idea of where the destroyers are, I'd like some idea of where the enemy ships are. And the thing is, if you commit with one of these things, they don't turn so well. It's not nearly as agile as the Amagi, or definitely not as agile as something like the Tirpitz. Don't know about the North Carolina, obviously don't have one of those. But yeah, the trick is, at all times, try and keep your bow pointed towards the enemy as much as possible. And if you have to turn around, if you have to start driving away from the enemy, that puts you at a disadvantage. And of course the turrets are a big part of that, but also the rear armour is just not nearly as tough as what you get on the nose. Now, one of the reasons why people really don't like this that have played through it is these 3 turrets. I feel like they should be incredibly hard to knock out. And there's also no mechanism in... Mechanism? What's a mechanism? I don't know. There's no way for the game to go, well, you've lost a turret, therefore you get an extra saving throw if it happens to another turret. It just doesn't work like that. So it's possible, and I've lost 2 frontal turrets, and I've seen people lose all 3 turrets. I've seen, you know, pictures on Reddit and whatever. It's entirely possible for this thing to be rendered almost useless. If you lose half your frontal firepower, that's bad enough. If you lose all your frontal firepower and you're relying on that 3rd turret, that's really quite crippling. So I feel like there should either be a mechanism where if you lose a turret, it's then harder to lose another turret after that point, which would be just nice for all battleships generally. But for this one specifically, even if there wasn't that, the turrets should just be tougher. Because just the nature of the layout means that losing a turret can be utterly, not just aggravating, but it can be fatal. It can be crippling in terms of how much damage you can do, especially if you're supposed to be a top tier ship. It just neuters you totally, and I don't think any other battleship really has that. The North Carolina might do a little bit, because I've read with the North Carolina, again, the strongest way to play it is to keep your bow towards the enemy. And that kind of effectively makes it have the same play style as one of these, I suppose. But yeah, at least you have the option of rear turrets. You can angle out the back of your ship and hey presto, you got some rear turrets. Of course, this doesn't have that at all. So it would be nice for Wargaming to do something about that. And I think people would hate the Izumo less if it... marginally less, that if it lost turrets quite as often. It's not like it loses them super often. They're still battleship turrets after all, but the fact that it can lose multiple turrets in one go, and it's all very, very RNG. Because stuff like taking damage and the saving throws that go with that, that's all essentially dice rolls. So that is RNG. That is an RNG aspect. Somebody got confused in the comments of a previous Warships video where I'd said there's less RNG in this game overall, and I still maintain that to be true. Because in World of Tanks you've got RNG with dispersion, you've got RNG with shell penetration, you've got RNG with your shell damage, you've also got RNG with module saves and critical damage to enemy tanks. I almost said enemy ships there. Of course, the critical things, that's still in there, and the shell dispersion, oh boy, yes, that very much is in World of Warships. But you don't get any kind of penetration RNG or damage RNG. And so I'd said that, and I'd been very clear about it, and I had posted a link to this guy. You know, I posted a comment, posted a link in the comments rather, with a post on the forums saying how the mechanics work. And it's one of those occasions when you present somebody with all the facts and yet they somehow still don't quite believe you. So yeah, what can you do? What can you do? Anyway, that North Carolina just took an almighty pounding from the Kagero. It looks like that team's all concentrated in a big knot up here. So we basically got to start pushing north, but this Kagero is going to be harassing us all the while. Hello. Speaking of which, she's just turning. Actually, let's queue up some HE shells. I think it's worth having HE. I don't know why he's plunged towards us so much. This is a whole group of... a larger group of enemy ships. I thought he'd kind of play around up here in the middle, keep at range, shoot torps down range at us, but no, he's just gone really quite YOLO. He's gone full ham. We might get a chance to... hell, he's low enough health that if these hit, a decent chance of killing the fella. Looks like he's burning. Shots out. Nope, never mind. Don't think he even had his torpedoes back at that point. Right, so despite not having tier 10 battleships, we're actually doing alright so far. Right, I'm going to kill speed, actually. Because this is the point where it's fighting other battleships, and it's not. These are not super accurate guns, but it's more keeping my nose towards the enemy ships than anything else. I might actually want HE shells for this Yamato, because he's going to be doing more or less the same thing, just trying to stay as angled as possible. Oh, hello, the Shimakaze is close. Okay, let's throw on some speed. You cannot... That's the downside. That's a big downside of this ship. Is if there's destroyers nearby. You can just get wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. Because you're trying to idle along, so you're not turning and exposing and whatever. Oh, he's shooting at me, shooting at me. But it can be... That, of course, just makes you easy prey for... Oh, God, that's going to hurt. Not that much, actually. Okay, that was a bit lucky. It just makes you easy prey for destroyers when you're doing that. Right, I need the rune, Mr. Rune, to come round and go and spot this Shimakaze. Because that's a massive threat for me right now. And that seriously hampers my ability to do, you know, battleship things. I really want to turn towards the Shimakaze, but that makes me incredibly vulnerable to this Montana. Although he's got multiple incoming torpedoes, actually. Okay, let's okay, yeah, no, we'll treat this Shimakaze as the primary threat. Oh, hello, no, you screwed that up. Montana didn't take any damage at all. That's not good. Rune, I need you, Rune. I absolutely need him to be eyes for me, because I am so screwed if the Shimakaze is just swanning around dropping torpedoes on me. Right, what should I fire at right now? Let's go from the audience, we can get shots on him. Couple of shots. A crucial thing here is not to maintain speed and course in any one direction for too long, basically. Right, how? Wow, we had a whole bunch of destroyers there. They all just got wrecked. I thought that Montana was doomed for sure, but no. I absolutely got wrecked. That was surprising. Wow, this is really turned around in the enemy team's favour. They've got control of... Well, our Udaloy is still alive and kicking in the north, but he's got no support. They've got control of the middle with a couple of very strong units. The Yamato's down, which is fantastic, but... Montana's still, you know... And then I've got this Shimakaze floating around somewhere behind me. Right, I've softened up the rune a bit. I'm going to concentrate now on... Oh, Montana's going down. Excellent. What am I going to concentrate on? I guess we'll go for the New Orleans again. Right, there's the Shimakaze dropping on the rune. I don't know what our rune's doing. He's not really driving as though he's cognizant of the fact that there's a tier 10 destroyer in the vicinity. Let's try. Oh, someone else kill him. Which is bad because I need a competent screen and I don't. I've got that rune instead. Which is maybe a bit harsh, but frankly, he's sailed all the way around back there, and he's not filling me with confidence. The way he's driving his ship is not filling me with confidence at all. Right. The Tirpitz is going to want to come and try and drop torpedoes in my face. Because that's what you're doing at Tirpitz. So I'm going to turn again. Because I don't think I can take this Tirpitz down fast enough. Tirpitz is actually reasonably fast. With his torpedoes, that could be costly. Of course, unfortunately, that's it's not great for me in terms of. Okay, he's not firing at me right now. I think he's firing at the Megami. Ibuki's run aground, so that's the much nicer target. I just don't want to give this. Yeah, he's almost in torpedo range. This gets the chance to talk me. Rune's still alive and kicking. Shimakaze's not been seen for a while, which again is concerning. It concerns me. I am concerned. Nice hit, 5k. My secondaries are actually opening up on the Tirpitz, so I'll actually just mark him. Now that's less effective than it used to be. I don't have the secondary skill on this captain, and I think for this captain, who's probably going to go in the Yamato, that would actually be incredibly useful to have that skill. Right, I actually have a nasty feeling the Shimakaze is going to try and ambush me through the islands. And we lost the rune. Well, I mean, I've got limited options here. Again, I think we're going to lose this one. He's almost in torpedo distance. He's trying to close the distance on me to drop torpedoes, probably. Right, I can probably take him down, at which point that gives me a bit more scope of action. Oh, yeah, he's going to try and turn and make a drop soon. He's nearly within range. Right, there we go. He probably didn't actually get the chance to put torps out. Let's hope to God he didn't. And there's the Shimakaze. Okay. Let's continue the turn. This is at least one, probably two. I really don't have a lot of... Even with the extra warning from Captain's skill. Yeah, this is incredibly bad. This is the nightmare scenario for a battleship driver. Having a Japanese destroyer at very close range. Right, you are there. Let's get HE shells loaded. Right, I have to turn the other way, unfortunately, which is going to put my turrets around, otherwise I'm going to run aground on an iceberg. Really, I want to go towards him while he's reloading, because he's got a long reload. Right, if they cap the middle point, we might actually come through with this, and if I don't die to this Shimakaze. What's left up there? Megami, North Carolina. But the thing is, this is all taking time, so he's getting the time to reload, essentially. Right. Oh, there he is. Oh, he's disappeared again now. Right, he can just run away. Now his smoke's done. So that's a huge, 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 huge problem for me. He's got all the time in the world to withdraw. Right, I've not done a lot damage-wise, but again, this has been a really awkward battle. This is not a good map for this ship, though. This is really not a good map. Some maps, the Izumo really sucks on. That is a big factor with the Izumo, like what kind of map you get. And also your teammates, obviously, are a big factor as well, but what kind of map you get really does dictate how effective you can be. So it's a bit like World of Tanks in that regard. Some maps and some tanks just do not go together well at all. They just suck. Alright, he's probably going to be reloaded soon, isn't he? So I can do my best to dodge, but the thing is the Shimakaze can put out such a wall of torpedoes that, yeah, even if I dodge most of them, he only has to hit one or two to do a lot of damage. And there they are. Because he gets so many of them, look at that spread. This is not like a low-tier battleship where you can just dodge relatively easy because they don't have a lot of torpedoes. It's the sheer number that they can put out. Oh god, oh god, oh just, oh no, don't turn into it. Oh, okay. Oh, there was a few extra grey hairs. Right, he's now reloading again. Right, if we take him out and then focus to North Carolina and the Megami, I am just utterly locked down by this Shimakaze right now. It really dictates hard what I can do. Because you don't... This is the nightmare scenario of being in a battleship alone against a Japanese destroyer. You never want that, ever, if you can possibly help it. Because they will, unless they massively screw up, always have the upper hand. And that's one of the things I think a lot of people dislike about playing battleships is you need your teammates to be sufficiently good to give you cover against destroyers, against things with torpedoes. Right, that is... Is Shimakaze firing at the Zao? Or is that the North Carolina? Right, I don't think I can get shells over there. Right, I'm going to put my front towards the North Carolina. I'm going to focus this guy. Right, and also someone on our team's just a bit mad that somebody's in a tier 10 Japanese. Okay, he's in C. He's probably going to be towards the southern end of the C cap. So he's trying to cap that. Right, we are winning on points if we don't lose any more ships. But it came down to that kind of stage in one of the previous recorded battles as well. It was like, right, we just need to live. We just need to live. Oh, okay, people died. Right, that was not enough lead. It was definitely not enough lead. And we're far enough ahead on points that... Oh, there's that wall of torps going for the Zao. Oh, I hope the Zao doesn't die. Right, that's it. You fire at me, North Carolina. You ignore the Zao. You fire at me. You absolutely fire at me. You ignore the Udaloy. You ignore the Zao. You fire at me. Get him selected for the secondaries. Nice. Good hit. He's now broadside on. I'm trying to... What would be the term in RPGs? It'd be like aggro. I'm trying to aggro this guy. And he's giving me his side as well, which is really nice. Right, trying to get that third turret on him. Because right now I need the extra firepower. I think it's worth the risk. He's turning away. That angle is going to make it difficult. He's also about to be in secondaries range. Right, we keep hammering this guy. That gives us a nice points bump. Obviously, also we're defending B. Because we need to get the cap points ticking back up again, the victory points. I think this has just been such a long, tense battle. In fact, we're going to probably win this one on time, aren't we? There's been such a long, tense battle that I don't even think I'm going to do another one, to be quite honest. I think this is going to be the game. Even though damage-wise it was not great. It was a win! It was my second win out of like 9 battles in 3 days. And you say 9 battles and it doesn't sound like a lot, but of course in Warships, you can do 3 battles in an hour, and like that's not uncommon to only get 3 battles inside of an hour. So 9 or 10 battles is over. That's over 3 hours easily. Right, 28 seconds. I mean, we've got this. We've got this in the bag. Phew, that dodge though. I mean, it would have only been 1 torpedo and it would have survived it, but still. Oh, so that's the Izumo. It's incredibly awkward to play, and it puts you at more of a disadvantage than a lot of other battleships in that you rely incredibly on your teammates to keep your flanks clear, and sometimes the maps suck, and sometimes the turrets get knocked out, and it's just, yeah, I can see why people don't like it. I can see why people free XP through it. For myself, honestly, I am perfectly content to grind through it. I'm finding it alright. I'm absolutely not hating it at all. I'm not going to say I'm loving it, but it's alright. Wow, our Zao kicked arse though. 3,000 base XP. The Udaloy did a really good job. For the enemy team, it was the Shimakaze that was top. So yeah, 1700 base XP though. That's respectable. That's actually decent. That's, yeah, I'm not going to complain about that too much at all. So, there we go. Bit of live gameplay. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And if you have, you can leave any comments below. You can hit the like button. You can sub to my channel if you aren't already. And as always, stay tuned for more.